Do you have a bunch of unfinished projects? Have you ever had a hobby that you were all in for a while and then months later it kind of fell by the wayside? You may have shiny object syndrome. If you do, stay tuned to find out what you might do about it. Hi, this is G.H. Glade for Coaching ADD. And there are many reasons why people with ADD are more prone to shiny object syndrome. And if you need to send out an SOS in your life, stay tuned because we're going to talk about what to do about it. New is not always better. And one of the drivers to shiny object syndrome is FOMO, fear of missing out. We have what I think of as a stimulus-driven brain. It thrives on new stimuli, and new stimuli equates to a dopamine hit, and that's very, very reinforcing. The physical hallmarks of SOS are things like incomplete courses, unused domains, projects that may be 80-90% finished and then sit for literally years before they get completed, if they get completed at all. The reality is we only have so much time on our plate, and if we stack more on our plate, de facto something has to slip off. And one of the ways of thinking about how much to take on is that notion of time boxing. It asks the question, when are you going to do this specific thing? How are you going to fit that into your schedule? If you have a significant other spouse who shrugs and goes, yeah, in your spare time, this might be an indication that you're overbooked. But to really look at getting something done, you need to put time boundaries around when you're actually going to work on that. Just as I do with creating this YouTube channel. I have specific time boundaries allotted to producing those videos. You can look at the analogy of trying to keep a patch of sand dry on the beach as the tide's coming in. You have to stick a boundary around that, otherwise the water is just going to fill in, and your time is the same way. It's also asking the question, does this new project fit with your life? Does it fit with your long-term goals? Is doing something going to enhance your life? Is it going to make your life better? Is it going to move you forward? Is it going to give you long-term joy? There's several ways, if the answer is yes to these, where you can get these done. The mere declaration of purpose in a public way is a powerful way to motivate yourself to get things done. If I announce to a business partner or a significant other that I'm going to do X, Y, and Z and I will have it done by this time, boy, that lights a fire under you. A good example of this is a mastermind group. Once upon a time, I was in one of those. And how it worked is we were all on the hot seat to ask our questions and get help from the group. And it taps on a collective brain trust of many minds thinking about a problem. But at the end of your time on the hot seat, you would announce specific tangible goals for what you were going to do before the next meeting. And believe me, you did not want to come in front of that group and say, hey gang, I kind of sloughed off, I let things get in the way, and I didn't do squat diddly on my goals. No. You were not going to announce to the group that you had done that, because it gave that opportunity for public declaration of purpose, end goal, and what you were going to do in a specific period of time. Oftentimes, the most difficult thing is for people to say no. That can be really hard if you're a people pleaser, because you want to do things that make people pleased with you. And this is a cruel taskmaster. Cultivating no is really about setting that internal boundary, saying, no, I only have so much time, and I'm going to keep what I do in priority with my life. Priorities are an interesting factor in this. We need to set priorities in our life because clearly not everything is important as other things might be, because clearly some things are more important than others. There's a cost to switching. You know, if you're a writer and you keep going from topic to topic and you start on a project and you never get to that completion before you switch, the cost is the time that you've spent on that project. You've just wasted that time. You haven't brought things to what is in business called the minimal viable product. And it's better to launch that minimal viable product than nothing at all. Because if you launch nothing at all, you have wasted all of that time. So there is a tangible cost to switching. You know, you have to ask the question, are you living a rabbit life? Are you constantly going down the rabbit hole? You need to understand yourself and how you work. Are you good at setting those time boundaries? Do you need to go to a specific place where you may have others around to make sure that you're not going down the rabbit hole on your computer? You know, it's an interesting thing in this time of COVID where many people are now working from home. And I've had quite a number of clients say, you know, it's so much better for me to go to the office because I am side by side with other people working, and I am less inclined to get distracted by open tabs and what's happening on Facebook and that fear of missing out of what might be going on that I might not be aware of. Again, it's thinking about how does what you're doing fit with those long-term goals and what are the real priorities in your life. So this has been an overview of SOS, or shiny object syndrome. Now, if this has been a problem for you, it may be helpful to go see a coach to help you work step by step and have that weekly accountability. Coaches can do a lot in terms of helping you modify SOS, and it's a real problem that affects people with ADD more. So this is J.H. Glade for Coaching ADD. If this has been helpful for you, thump that like button. It pushes it out in the algorithm and lets more people take advantage of this content. I always like it when you give that like. It pleases me to know that people are listening. And I will catch you next week when I do another video. Thanks for sharing this time with me. Take care.